fresh hopes for a breakthrough as the US and China hold a second round of trade negotiations, this time in the UK. The London meeting between top-level trade officials comes just days after a phone call between Donald Trump and Xi Jinping. Well, officials from the US and China meeting in London, as we just talked about, to make progress on a trade agreement. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, Trade Representative Jamieson Greer, all meeting with Chinese Vice President He Lifeng for a second round of negotiations. Our talks are likely to centre around rare earths and export controls. Last month, representatives from Washington and Beijing met in Geneva, both sides agreeing to a temporary truce to lower import taxes on goods. But tensions re-escalated, with the pair accusing each other of violating their 90-day trade agreement. Now, today's meeting also follows a breakthrough phone call between US President Donald Trump and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping last week. It was the first time the pair had spoken directly since Mr. Trump launched his sweeping tariff campaign against Beijing in February. Oli Barrett is standing live now in London to tell us more. Now, Olly, these talks, round two, all about moving the Geneva Pact forward. So what are the main areas that the US and China are expected to and must cover this round?
That's right. You mentioned those rare earth elements, which are a key part of discussions today here. We think at Lancaster House, just behind me, this is the venue for the discussions between the American delegation and the Chinese delegation. We've just in the last few moments seen Scott Bessent, the US Treasury Secretary, going inside for those discussions. Clearly, export controls are another key focus here, and tariffs imposed between the two countries since Donald Trump came back into office in the White House. The White House has also made it clear heading into these discussions that a key focus for Washington is to try and get back to that deal you mentioned, the agreement that was reached at the previous round of talks in Geneva. So there is a restoration element to all of this from the American perspective. And as I say, rare earths, a key focus certainly for the Americans, but also European countries watching these talks very closely indeed, because those rare earths crucial to parts of the European economy too. International investors as well watching very closely indeed, given some of the market turmoil we've seen off the back of various different episodes when it comes to the trade spat between Beijing and Washington.
London picked as the location for this round of discussions. Why?
Well, Lancaster House behind me is the type of location that London often uses for international diplomacy like this. It is discreet. It has the ability and the experience to hold discussions in this kind of format. Washington asked London to host these discussions. There's a geographical element here, of course, as well, with the UK in between the United States and China, if you like. The UK also has an incentive to play this role. It won't be taking part in the talks, but it's facilitating the discussions here. And we know that He Lifeng, when he arrived in London overnight, had talks with the UK Finance Minister Rachel Reeves as the UK tries to boost economic ties and trade links between the UK and China. And with those three senior American officials in town as well, you can be sure that the UK will try and get some time with them to talk about that UK-US trade pact agreed last month, but hasn't yet fully been implemented. In the UK, I'm sure we'll be using the opportunity to try and make progress in that area as well.
We will be circling back once the talks get underway. Oli Barrett, thank you so much, reporting live from London there. Well, our correspondent in Beijing, Tan Se-Hui, explains China's main concerns when it comes to a deal on rare earth minerals.
China controls the global supply and most of the global supply for rare earths. And so this is going to be a challenge because European and global firms have raised concerns over the rare earths export controls. And so China has said on Saturday through the Commerce Ministry that it will review and approve these export control measures. And so far, the Foreign Affairs Ministry said to keep a close eye on the situation situation just today when reporters had asked what are the expectations over the US-China meeting in London. This comes just as trade data for the month of May just came today. China's exports grew 4.8%, and it grew slower than expected due to the export control measures, as well as rare earth shipments coming nearly down by half. Imports also grew 3.4%. That's a significant drop in the month of May. So really all eyes will be on this meeting between the US and Chinese delegation in London.